Perdana Menteri Australia Tony Abbott maklumkan satelit negara itu berjaya mengesan dua imej yang dikatakan mempunyai dua objek yang dikatakan mempunyai ada kaitan dengan kehilangan MH370. Sudah bersedia di seberang sana ialah Razak Cik, editor eksekutif Astro Awani.
Ya,
Cik Razak, apa perkembangan? Apa yang kita dah ada untuk
hasil daripada perhubungan Astro Awani dengan beberapa kumpulan media antarabangsa, kami telah mendapat berita terkini dari Parlimen Australia di mana Perdana Menteri Australia Tom Abbott telah memberi tahu pada Parlimen bahawa kesan dari pengawasan satelit telah terjumpanya dua objek yang beliau telah memberitahu Parlimen Australia bahawa this could be a possible breakthrough berdasarkan satellite images tentang dua objek yang telah dijumpa di perairan di luar pantai Perth, Australia. Jadi Perdana Menteri Australia Tony Abbott telah memberitahu Parlimen di Australia sekarang ini lebih kurang 3 jam ke hadapan kita bahawa imej yang terhasil dari pemantauan satelit itu besar kemungkinan ada kena-mengena dengan pesawat MH370 yang hilang, yang sedang dicari. Pada waktu ini, usaha mencari oleh pasukan pencari Australia tertumpu kepada menghantar aset udara mereka. Jadi sekarang saya akan sempat berbual dengan Nikki Battiste, seorang wakil dari ABC, American Broadcasting Corporation. Hello, Nikki.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, I understand you are on board one of the search and rescue flights, the P3 Orion, I guess. Is that true?
I'm on the ground. We have two people on our team are on board the PA Poseidon that took off to search today. I'm on the ground with the U.S. Navy commander overseeing the flight, and they are headed to search and investigate two satellite images on the water. So they were informed this morning by the Australian government that two images were found that hopefully are parts of the Malaysian plane, and this flight is headed there as we speak. They should be arriving to that search area any moment.
Let's put things in perspective here. We are about noon here in Kuala Lumpur. You must be around 3 o'clock there in Perth?
That's right. It's around noon in Perth.
It's around noon,
and this flight left 3 hours ago. It took them. This flight time for the search today is 9.5 hours. It takes them 3 hours just to get to the search area. So they should just be arriving there. And the PA Poseidon is one of the most advanced planes. It's extremely high tech and has some equipment that will be able to sort of detect whether or not this debris is in fact potentially the missing plane. And just to give you some sense, the U.S. aircraft today will be searching an area of 30,000 nautical miles, and the depths of the ocean where they're looking is about 14,000 feet deep.
Could we tell our audience exactly what happened today? Because the statement came from Tony Abbott in Parliament. So what happened was he addressed Parliament. Is this some kind of special sitting in Parliament?
Yeah, so the Prime Minister here gave a press conference today and announced that two objects had been identified, satellite images, in the Indian Ocean, and that they had informed the U.S. Navy team here earlier today privately of those images, and the mission today was to go to investigate them. So it was just made public that these images were found.
Could you tell us whether the the satellite images of the two objects were discovered, the discovery was made only recently or through the past few days, and only now that the information has been made available?
I asked that question, and I was told that it's classified information when it was found and how it was found, and what sort of satellite devices were used. But I do know that the U.S. Navy team here they were just informed this morning. That's all that I know for sure.
Putting two and two together, Could we surmise then that, therefore, that the discovery was made only recently, and that as a result of that discovery from the unknown satellite, we are now embarking on the next phase, sending the P3 Orions as well as the Poseidons over to the area where it was located, and from there on to retrieve the two objects?
I think that's a fair assumption. I suspect that this information happened late yesterday, and I think some of the search efforts were organized overnight. And it's my understanding that some very high-tech sort of equipment was used to analyze these satellite images, and they seem fairly confident that it could potentially be a plane rather than some other sort of debris.
So would it be fair to say that we are now entering the next phase of the search and rescue? The fact is what's happening now is the two air assets are being deployed to the location, and from there on, once the objects are retrieved, and if it's confirmed that it originates from MH, then the vessels from the other countries would be headed towards that general direction to carry out any rescue or retrieval of the wreckage. Would that be true?
Yeah, that's my understanding. That's my understanding, correct.
From Perth itself, are the Navy assets also being readied just in case we do find portions of any aircraft? We're not saying it's the MH, but for these assets already being put on standby to carry out any retrieval efforts?
My understanding, I'm not 100% sure. My impression is that the Australian government is prepared to react and to respond if this debris is in fact a plane. To take the next step.
We've also been told that the Malaysian Prime Minister has been informed of this discovery. Would you expect from now on then the search would take a new phase where it will also involve Malaysians? Their effort will now be concentrated on this part of the world, and all the searches in other parts of the world will be called off.
I think that I think we'll know soon. The planes are within the hour. I would imagine within the next 3 hours. I think we'll have an idea, hopefully, whether or not this debris might be the plane. And if that's the case, I would imagine that all the search and rescue efforts would be focused here.
Could you give us a sense of how much press activity is there? Because most of the press activity is now centered here in Kuala Lumpur and in China. Would there be an influx of journalists from now on to Perth?
I think so. To be honest, ABC News, we've been here a few days, and we've seen almost no press, just some local press from Perth, some other Australian press, no other American press. No Malaysian press I'm aware of, and a few print journalists. But I imagine as we speak, people are heading here, preparing for possibly news of this debris being the plane.
So for the moment, ABC is the only news organization that's stationed there, and you would be embedded with the search in one of the aircraft. Would I be correct?
We have a team on the aircraft today, along with one Australian print journalist. But we are the only television news organization on the P8 Poseidon today, yes.
So we here in Kuala Lumpur will be waiting with bated breath about what the retrieval of the two objects yield. We will be in touch with you from time to time. We'll keep our fingers crossed that we do find a resolution to this search for MH370. Thank you very much, Nikki.
Thank you.
Yes, jadi perkembangan terkini ya dari Australia pada tengah hari ini, dan di Perth waktunya lebih kurang sama dengan di Malaysia.
Ya.
Jadi aset-aset udara dari tentera negara Australia akan dihantar untuk membuat pengesahan sama ada objek-objek yang dijumpai itu adalah datangnya berpuncanya dari 370.
Dan menurut laporan Nikki itu tadi juga pesawat itu pun telah berlepas lebih kurang dalam 3 jam yang lalu sebenarnya dan sudah pun dijangka berada di kawasan yang dikatakan penemuan data ataupun imej satelit itu, dan kita harap bahawa laporan itu cepat dapat disampaikan ke pihak kerajaan Australia dan seterusnya ke pihak kerajaan Malaysia, dan seterusnya kita akan dapat mungkin perkembangan terbaru dalam press conference ataupun sidang media pada petang nanti. Terima kasih Razak Cik, Executive Editor Astro Awani.